live, but my fingers won't work. And we are live, people. Welcome back to a Wednesday. It is 8 p.m. I had to remember what day it is. I've sort of not been very well again. As you can see, I've broke my hand. We have got a wonderful special guest. We've got Bo from the VAPERY. Nice to see you, brother. How are you?
Not too bad, man. Not too bad at all.
Oh, good. He is a little bit pixelated because he has had computer problems and he's using his phone, but we'll get round to that. How are you doing, Salford?
Not too bad. Not too bad. Me normal.
Your normal happy self.
Me normal happy self, yeah. Miserable old fat.
People, make sure you are on a live chat. It's always nice to be on live chat. And how are you doing, wonderful Mr. Coily?
Very well, thank you. Yes, very well.
Had a good day or a bad day? Has it been a bit better than last week?
I've had a wonderful day. Keep nodding, keep telling myself that. It's been good.
It's been an absolute wonderful day.
Positive mental attitude, Salford, anyway, so that's what you have.
Is that right?
Yeah.
You mental, did you say?
Eh?
Said I love you.
Yeah.
It was definitely positive something anyway, I think it was. You've actually had a good day today, really, haven't you, mate? Are you going to tell everybody about your funky moped that you've just got?
Oh, no, not my funky moped. Come on. 4 miles an hour of it. Whoa.
Don't they go a bit faster than that?
Just watch your toes. It's been up and down the hallway like something not right.
Do you know what? You know you can actually get... Do you know if you go to the pub or all like that, you can actually get done for driving them pissed?
Yeah, I've seen that.
Not going to affect me then, is it?
Yeah, there's someone, was it one of these, okay, we've got police programs called now Traffic Cops, or it's the other one, Police Interceptors, where the people are going round, people take these mopeds to the pub, leave them parked outside the pub, and these geezers come along in a van, point no, it's not a moped, is it? What do you call it? Scooter.
Mobility scooter.
Yeah, mobility scooter. Stick it in the back of the van and off they go.
I wonder it price of them.
Watch out, especially around you, Salford.
Off at Road, that's what they do. Obviously, as you all know, there's a working men's club off at Road. And as you go into the door, there's like 3 people that come. Now, if they all come at the same time, it's like getting ready on pole, like pole. You've got the first person comes in, second person, and then if somebody leaves before the other one, they've all got to start reversing and coming back out. It's like a 90-year-old Hamilton trying to get out. But some of them, they're doing like 8 pints in an afternoon session, and then they're driving off. Whoa, wait.
You're not going to be one of these, Salford, that drives it down the road?
No, it's not an old one. It can go on the road, but it's not an old one. It's not the 8 mile an hour one.
Round us, they all go out in their little electric scooters. They get out on the road and they've got traffic jams like 3 miles behind them trying to get into town.
Yeah, but I live in the middle of a city, don't I, where they won't even bother you there. They just knock you out of the way.
Yeah. I've actually seen people go down the motorway in them as well.
Have you?
Yeah.
Oh.
Just thought it were going to go down M6.
Oh.
Yeah, so M62. I'll give you a tow. I'll fetch you back to Yorkshire one night. Down the M62 on the back of the car.
Where are you going to tie the rope round my neck?
Yeah.
Before you mind.
Even better. Yeah.
Well, before we get on to the show properly, Simon, are you going to give a bit of a shout out to people? I did it last week.
There's a few. I'm going to go from the top down. Burnage Vapor, Bobster, leaving Bobster, Salford Vapor, I don't know who he is. Gaz Evans, what? The Vape, of course, the Vapor, yeah. Dion 78, Shane Foster, Chris Doyle.
And he's froze, that's a good freeze as well, isn't it?
Chris Doyle, Chris Doyle already. Village, Dion 78, I think that's honestly, my brain's knackered tonight. Harry.
Excuse rest at time.
Harry 48, talking to you, Salford.
He's catching.
I think that's about it, actually. Jenny Sin Designs.
She's lovely, Jenny. Big love.
I think that's Emma Douglas.
I am.
Big D Vapes, even Big D.
Wow.
Andy Summerfield. No cheek from you tonight, Andy Summerfield, please. I think that's only UK Vapes, and that's about it, I think, so far.
I'm sure a few more will be joining us in a while. Well, like we said, we have got our special guest on, the lovely Bo. We will be discussing his reviewing and also his shop as well. There is something I want to touch on what we touched on last week, and it's something that's happened to me this week. We were talking about the negativity of what's happened over the pond.
Can I just stop you? I didn't say Chris Grimes. Good evening, Chris Grimes. Wonderful.
Always nice to see Chris Grimes. Hope you're okay,
yes.
brother. Fantastic coils.
Sorry.
Yeah, we were talking about... We were talking about things...
keep interrupting us.
Fucking Jesus Christ. Amateurs. See what I have to cope with, Bo.
What, amateur? Are you calling me an amateur? Are you calling me an amateur, man? Amateur? I can interrupt anybody. Go ahead.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Aidan. I'll let you speak now.
So, we were talking... We were talking about across the pond and about the negativity that what it sort of brought over here, and the papers, the way they've picked it up over there. There was two of my really good friends. They're still my good friends. I've known them for years. One lad I've played pool with for absolutely years, and his wonderful wife. And she actually works in the doctor's surgery. And we sort of got into a little thing about vaping. And he was saying to me, well, this vaping's no good for you. It causes holes in your lungs. And there's been 4 deaths in England. And I says, well, it don't cause holes in your lungs. And there hasn't been any deaths in England to do with actual vaping, normal e-liquid with nicotine. And he's trying to tell me that nicotine's bad for you. I said, well, it's the same as it is with caffeine and other bits like that. It's a stimulant. And then she was sort of saying, well, it's still bad for you. It's now causing a child epidemic. I then told him about how the actual smoking rates had gone down to what there was years ago, blah, blah, all the good things that you should be telling him. And then she told me that it is full of poison. And I said to her, well, what poisons are you talking and what chemicals are you talking about? And she brought out that it was, is it acetate, isn't it?
Yeah.
So the acetate is actually the stuff that's in the THC pods, which is...
What they're mixing with it.
Yeah. Which isn't in actual vaping. So obviously, this couple who have picked up the paper and have read, and she works in a doctor's surgery, have read the stuff in the paper. They've read what's on the news and seen everything, and that is the conclusion that they've actually picked up.
And it's irresponsible media. I was just a bit bizarrely because we were talking about the news story before I came on, and I hadn't had a chance to have a look today. First one that came up was The Guardian. Vaping poses serious threat to children. That was yesterday, I think, 26th. So, tobacco and vaping addiction begin in childhood, not in adults. Smoking gun G2 20th November. The number of UK children vaping is being grossly underreported. US trends inevitably across the Atlantic. In America, 30% of high school children vape. Most have never smoked tobacco. With forceful UK e-cigarette marketing directed at the young, similar rates will undoubtedly occur with potentially devastating health effects. I mean, what sort of... That's like a real headline grabber, isn't it? Just very generalised. It's going to... everything's going to come over to America. All the kids are going to start vaping. And then they want to say, we cannot sit back and accept a blanket message from Public Health England that vaping is 95% less harmful than tobacco smoking because A, nobody exactly knows what substances are in these liquids, although we do know.
They've known for a decade.
Yeah, and B, there is an epidemic of vaping-related chest disease and deaths in America, and it took over 30 years for the long-term harmful effects of tobacco to be appreciated. Get fucked. This is exactly what I'm talking about with the irresponsible report and just blanket media crap. It's just utter rubbish.
Obviously, Bo, you've got a shop, and we spoke to Big D last week about he's got a shop, and I spoke also to Chris Bell about it. He'd seen that there was a sort of like a footfall loss when all this started, roughly 3, 4, 5 months ago. 7 months ago. Have you seen the same in your shop?
Yeah. Like it started beginning the summer holidays, and we thought it was just the summer holidays. Everyone was a little bit skint, usual kind of stuff. Then September came, I was like, hang on a minute, we're still not really selling many starter kits. Like our shop, like our hobbyist vapers, obviously still vape, do you know what I mean? But it's more the people who still maybe have the odd cig, or still quite new to vaping. But like the starter kit sales have just fell off the fucking face of the cliff, like it's ridiculous.
That's a nightmare, isn't it? It's all right. I'm trying to get that's what I want to do. There we go. I can see the full chat. So you can just see, like you said, the main bit of your bread and butter is going to be selling them starter kits. You've obviously got the hobbyists who are going to be coming in for the wire or the coils or whatever in the juice. But these starter kits are what people are going to be coming in to buy. That scaremongering is obviously had a knock-on effect to obviously the shops that are around. But like what you were saying there, it's an absolute load of shit that they're putting out in the paper.
Yeah, but how can they do it? How can they just go out with all this general shit? There's no responsibility there. Or what benefit is the Guardian getting from publishing that story other than clickbait? That's all it's about. And for me, it's wrong. You can sort of near it to a bloody fake news.
Yeah.
Honestly, it drives me.
The gentleman, like I said, he's a really good friend of mine. He actually tried to tell me that there was 4 deaths in the UK, and that it just come out from Public Health England. Well, I follow Public Health England and all their websites and all their social medias, and nothing had come out. So where's he got that from?
Well, it's the same thing, wasn't it, that we mentioned a couple of weeks ago? Some bloke in Newcastle that died 10 years ago of supposedly of vaping.
Yeah, but he'd already had lung disease and stuff like that.
Emphysema, I think, something like that. Yeah. So,
but it's all like as soon as you mention the acetate, you can see where it's come from. I've read the paper, and then it's there, and then, like you said, a little bit further down, it'd be a small little bit, and this is to THC pods.
I haven't looked at the.
Yeah, but you see, a lot of people who are not vapers don't know the difference at all, do they? So they just take it on board, and it's vaping's bad for you and it's killing you. You know, because they don't understand what they're actually reading.
Vapeholic, e-cig and e-liquid reviews. Agree, I've managed a vape shop for 5 years and the last 2 months have been the quietest time and smokers have talked to are believing the media. It's crazy.
Do you know, there's just something at the bottom of this article that I've just read in The Guardian. It says, and I'll read it verbatim, since you're here, we have a small favour to ask. More people like you are reading and supporting the Guardian's independent investigative journalism than ever before. I don't know why. And unlike many news organisations, we made the choice to keep our reporting open for all, regardless of where they live or what they can afford to pay. The Guardian will engage with the most critical issues of our time, from the escalating climate catastrophe to the widespread inequality of the influence of the big tech on our lives. At a time when factual information is a necessity, we believe that each of us around the world deserves access to accurate reporting with integrity at its heart. You fucking contradiction in terms, or what?
Exactly. You just it's not, and the thing is us as vapors, we sit here and you get so mad. I don't know about you, Bo. I get absolutely, and you've got to go over the same shit to people, and they look at you like you're lying because it's in a paper.
Yeah, and it's been on BBC.
Like, it always seems to be like taxi drivers that I ended up having this conversation with, and I always start it off with, I know this is going to sound like it's a foil half theory, but it's not. Do you know what I mean? Because, like, they look at you like, fuck off, you and shit, man. Like, it's like, I'm not, it's like, it's there, it's fact. You know what I mean?
I come up with a sort of a way of explaining it. It's like all of a sudden there'd been a spate of motorboat accidents, and just because it's got an engine in it, they start banning cars. Do you understand what I mean? Just because it's the same sort of process, it's not, because that's on water. Like they're vaping THC with stuff in it that shouldn't be in it, and we're vaping what should be in there, which is e-liquid and nicotine. Or people actually vape without any of it.
Yeah, but you can use the same concept, just what you say. I love analogies, I love them. But it's like, I went to the garage, I put some petrol in my car, but they had water in the fuel tanks. The petrol, it's fucked my car up. That's it, ban all petrol. Petrol's banned, it's dangerous.
There you go, Bill Richards. A few people vaped spice and ended up in hospital, but they were identified as, again, as vapors.
Yeah.
But the thing is, are they so fucking stupid that? Sorry, I keep swearing tonight. It's not like me to swear.
Yeah, go for it, bro.
But I forgot what I was going to say now. But this is this same entitlement, whole same that somebody else's fault. I vaped spice. I've nearly killed myself. It's the vaping's fault. I'm going to sue the vaping companies. I'm going to get all vaping banned because I did something stupid.
Well, obviously, did anybody see that with Trump, where they were all putting their bits across? And the amount of people there that I just cringed with what they were saying about how I think she was saying a 10-year-old had stood in front of her and said that I am now socially inadequate, and I've started vaping and I feel pressured that I've got. I'm thinking, hold on a minute. If a 10-year-old stood in front of you and it's your 10-year-old, why aren't you stopping him from vaping?
Vaping, yeah. Exactly. Did you see? I watched that video, and then I think shortly afterwards, Jay Hayes put a video up, sort of commenting on it. I've not seen if anybody else has done. I've still got Vic's What's Up to watch, and I think he did an update video after it as well, which I haven't had a chance to watch yet. But Jay Hayes was talking about Juul, and he was basically saying Juul went there saying we've got rid of all of the flavours for the benefit of the health of the people, blah blah blah, and basically Jay Hayes says, well, hang on a minute, if you're doing it in the US, why are you still trying to promote flavours outside the US? If it's all for the health of the people, you should be banning it across the world.
Yeah.
It's nothing to do with flavours, though. The reason why is because they've got 50 milligram pods.
Yeah.
And they're getting off the noodle on it. So if you take away the 50 milligram, which nobody needs, we've proved here in England that you don't need 50 milligram pods. Yeah. You just need 20 nicks, quite good enough. If you took them away, it's nothing to do with flavours. The kids won't be into it.
Well, look at it from Juul's point of view. They can get rid of the flavours in the States because they're still selling the 50 milligram nick to kids, because kids want the eye. They're not bothered about the flavour.
Do you think that's obviously the biggest thing there, Bo, that they haven't got the laws that we've got?
Yeah, they should have the regulations. Sorry, Bo.
Like, no worries, man. The healthcare system works with the MS with so many facts. It's so different in America. It's what the fuck? Do you know what I mean?
You can have a weed store on the corner, but you can't vape flavours. And they've got massive opiate deaths and people living in sewers. I don't know what that's going to do with you. I watched the thing about it the other day that people are actually living in sewers.
Storm sewers.
They've got like little villages underneath.
All right.
They're actually a porn star where it's somebody, Jenna, living under there, and she says, I'm not going back up there. That's how she was saying, I'm not going back up there. I'm happy down here. Running around with fucking Ninja Turtles and shit. She's way happy.
I would say, have you ever been to the, they're called in Edinburgh, the St Mary King's Close?
That's underground, isn't it?
Yeah, it's underground, but I didn't realise a lot of Edinburgh is actually buried underneath the city. Yeah. The old towns, a lot of the old towns are actually buried under the main city, apparently. So I was told on the tour when we went on.
I didn't actually see it on the tour. I saw it on that ghost thing.
Most Haunted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think it was Most Haunted. I think it was the American one.
Simon, a lot of Manchester's underground.
Is it?
Yeah. Been built over the top of.
Yeah.
Go and research it. That's besides the nuclear bunker we've got as well.
Can you remember those days, Salford, can you?
I can actually. I worked for Great Manchester County Council, didn't I? So I don't know all about the what's on the.
Sorry, I thought that's you going back to the days of your childhood then.
No, that'd be 19 that plonk.
No.
I want to say, if he worked for Manchester City Council, he had plenty of time to contemplate it when he was sat at side at road with cuppa on.
Yeah.
Not Manchester City Council, and I'd never worked for them. Greater Manchester County Council I used to work for before the abolition.
Not I do football, because I'm not a football fan, as I'm sure I've probably said before, but you see on the news today that Manchester City Football Club have been voted the richest or the most expensive football club? Is it £7.3 billion it's worth, something like that?
I'm not quite sure on the price of it, but I know they've just sold 10% of it.
But the investors have put 379 million into it or something, and it's now worth 7.3 billion. But I don't do football, so I'm not talking about that. So I'm just
but we went on a swerve then. We went underground, and then that was it. As soon as I mentioned underground, we went on to football and City Council.
Well, we like the Wombles, aren't we?
Have we got anything else in the news? Anything happy at all? Or is it all doom and gloom like normal?
I'll have a hunt and see if there's anything else while you chat amongst yourselves for a bit.
We did mention that we was going to talk about a couple of Black Friday deals. Now, just before we do that, the Vapery's got a
yes.
deal on, haven't you, at the minute? You got some stuff on at your place? Vouchers you can get? Did I see something?
Oh yeah, we've got Christmas vouchers. We have them all year, but we market them a little bit as Christmas vouchers as well, like push them a little bit more because that'll like bring people who don't normally vape into the shop a lot of little bits. We sell like a lot of beer, we sell soaps as well in the shop, which is like cool. Our customers make soaps, and we sell them in the shop as well. Come in, get like a voucher for your wife or a voucher for your husband, get some soap for your nan, get some beard oil for your brother. Yeah, one-stop shop of vaping, man. It's the central.
Well, to be honest with you, that's a right good thing, because if you look at this, majority of people who've obviously hit puberty, Salford, have got beards.
Nice clean shave.
Well, I'll tell you what, if you walk around Expo, obviously we were there, weren't we, Bo?
One minute. With the ball there, the no thing should be going.
No wonder you're single.
Saying?
No wonder you're single. Can you imagine that behind you? Slap her ass! Oh my god! Don't pull her hair. Don't pull her hair. But yeah, if you notice, most of the people in vaping nowadays have got beards, and that's some of the women as well. But yeah, it's good to have that one-stop look at it, isn't it? Have some beard oil, bit of soap as well.
Get a wash, have a fucking trim.
Before you know it, you're gonna have them little fish. You know where you sit and like a little thingy, they're gonna be doing the feet. Have a vape, you can do your feet. What they call them fish? Fuck it, we'll name him Steve, Mark, and Margaret. That'll do. Get the fish in to nibble your feet. I don't think I could do that.
Just my bit of Black Friday news that I've just found just while I was searching for the stuff. Morrison's will be running a Black Friday breakfast for £5 on Friday. 19 items. Ooh. 19 items, 3 sausages, 3 rashers of bacon, 3 hash browns, baked beans, mushrooms, 2 halves of tomato, 2 fried eggs, 2 slices of black pudding, and 2 halves of sliced bread.
That's only a starter for you, Simon. What are you on about?
See, if that had been out to do with vaping, that'd be it. Clogging your arteries.
Yeah.
Clogging your arteries, we've got to ban salad. Can't have flavours.
The Science Times study says switching from cigarettes to vape is better for heart health. That's in the Science Times.
Yeah.
There you are. Some good news for you. A study that was done for a month showed that smokers can improve their heart health within weeks after switching to electronic cigarettes. The largest study connected to this topic involved 114 smokers, and the outcome showed that vaping has the potential to reduce heart attack and stroke risk. Researchers from the University of Dundee does not think that way, as they stress that vaping is not safe, but it is just less harmful than tobacco. The British Heart Foundation said that stopping smoking was the best thing you could do for your heart and nothing else.
So they just had to add that little bit on the end, didn't they?
That little bit. Got to throw that little bit on the end. Got to throw that little midgy little bit at the end on anything, haven't they?
Yeah.
See,
don't throw the bin in, Auntie.
See, you've got to think, what is there? 3.6 million vapors in the UK.
In the UK, yeah.
And you've got to think there's 300 odd people dying a day of cigarettes.
Yeah.
And there's no reported deaths of vaping. So where's the fact on that?
It's not easy. It's just clickbait for papers. Happens in America. I've got to put it in the paper here. Got to make out that all the peer-based evidence is a load of shite, and just get people clicking on it and believing it. As I said before, tell a lie often enough, it becomes a truth. Big brother.
So we did have a little look for Black Friday deals, and
right, I've got eSig Click on. Right, guys, get over to eSig Click because I've got a load of places on there. There's loads of great deals on. And on the first one...
Plus they're a fantastic website as well. Get over there, they do some really good stuff.
On the first one, you've got new vaping here. They've just listed a few at the beginning. You can go in and click on and see what all the deals are. But you've got like the likes of the Smock Nord going for $12.99. there's all sorts of things there. Geek Vape Aegis X Kit, $45.99. You know, juices at a fiver. There's all sorts of that one. Then you got Apollo Worldwide doing juices or something. Vaporco UK, they've got deals on. They've got the Nord for $19.99. There's all sorts on here. There really is. You know, Dinner Lady juices. You know, I'm waiting for the cardboard bit to come flying.
Yeah, I'd leave the cardboard.
50ml $9.79. You know, overs at £3 odd. Coils going up $4.99. All sorts of things.
Just that actual Nord going for $14.99. That is like
$12.99 on new vaping. $12.99.
Honestly, that's cheaper than wholesale, man. I buy mine for about 15 quid.
Yeah.
Like,
but get up there and buy a few of them.
And
the whole might have to there, you know.
There's loads. There really is. There's this one called, what's that? Vaporol, is it? VAPORL, I think that is. They've got stuff on like they've got the Smart Trinity Alpha Pod system for $10.50. You know, Wismet activates the Bluetooth speaker kit piece of shite.
Yeah.
On for £20.15 and stuff. Then you got one of those Subida. You've got Vape Cigar. You know, got loads of deals on there. Jack Vapor's on there with their deals at the moment.
Get over to Jack Vapor. They're a Scottish company and they do some brilliant stuff. The Vim.
Over Edinburgh way, aren't they? Over that side, yeah.
They do the Vim, the D19. There's some really good starter kits there, and they are, like I said, they are a British company. So get yourself over there and support them.
Yeah, Vape Superstore. They're doing a load of deals on juices and stuff like that. There's absolutely loads of gear. And my mother's just decided to ring me. Vapor DNA as well.
What? She wants the smoke note? Hello?
No, she wants to make sure I've got me freewheeler.
Yeah, get up for Jenny's. Get over to. I've forgotten Jenny's shop as well. I've forgotten what it was called. What's Jenny's shop? Steamworks. That's it. Get yourself over there. She's got some Black Friday deals on as well. Can I just ask your three's opinion on this Black Friday? Do you think it's all made up? Obviously, we know that Smock Nord's a decent one. Do we think these shops are just making it up and they're not actually really deals?
Well, they are. For me, there's a couple of things. One is some places do get some good Black Friday deals. Other places just basically palm off all the shit that they can't sell on the Black Friday deals. But the biggest thing for me is that the majority of these places are doing like, and to be honest, I don't have an issue with it because if I'm getting a good deal, I'm quite happy. But it seems like it's taking the piss a bit that we're going to run Black Friday for a month or for 2 weeks running up to Black Friday or whatever. I mean, Amazon do it as well, don't they? So it's gone from being Black Friday to pretty much Black November now, isn't it?
Petty Vapes. Yeah, it is one of them funny things though when you see it on the news and there's like 3 grandmas wrestling over a 42-inch plasma. You know what I mean? You're just thinking, the only thing we need now is a little bit of custard, and this is a TV show that Anton Deck's going to do. You know what I mean? It's going to be ace. I'm a granny, get me out of here. Wrestling away. But yeah,
this is an idea that come from America, isn't it? This Black Friday business. You know, I mean, our sales, we never used to, when I was a kid, you didn't get sales before Christmas either. You got your sales in January. And now you're getting sales up to Christmas, and then you got your January sales after. You've got all these ones coming in from America as well. It's
like who's it starting the January sales in December now? That's what they're called. Them that are closing down.
DFS.
Right, on Boxing Day. On Boxing Day they started. Right after.
That's the thing I absolutely love the run up to Christmas, and I love Christmas music and stuff like that. I was saying before we came on the show. Did I say it when I was before we came on? Or when we were on? Yeah. I was driving back from Bury with you were because you berated me for it with Christmas music. So I love the run up to Christmas, and I love the Christmas adverts when they're coming on before the TV. And I hate it on Boxing Day because you get to Boxing Day and all of a sudden it's holiday adverts, DFS. Oak Furniture Land, all the shitty adverts. Oh, I hate it.
If anybody has got any Black Friday deals that they've seen, please stick it in chat. Let us know how much it's cost you and where you got it from. But I think Bo's gone to the toilet. I think it's a good job we're not doing a 2-hour show, isn't it?
Just can I be real boring? Can I just go back to the Trump thing? Because there's a couple of things I want to bring up.
Of course you can, yeah, go back.
There's a really interesting article now. I'm going to post a link to it in chat. So I've just come across it in something called Kaiser Health News. I'm not quite sure what it is. It's the first time I've seen it. But it's called The Complex Realm of Cloud Chasers, Coil Builders, and Other Vape Modders. And it's basically saying a dual pod is not an e-cigarette, it's not vape, and it's not a mod. Ask any serious vapor, but then what kind of vapor to ask? There are nicotine casuals, and those drawn to THC, the psychoactive ingredient in marijuana. There are hobbyists with all their subgenres, do-it-yourselfers, cloud chasers, sub-owners, coil builders, and other device modifiers called modders, not to mention the vape lifestyle models and social media influencers. Finding your tribe among vapors is more complex than finding your Hogwarts house. On blogs, Instagram, and online forums such as Reddit, the various types of vapors, interested as they are in vastly different things, don't agree on how or if vaping might be regulated, what exactly should be regulated, or who even should be prevented from vaping. There you'll find members of the DIY clan sharing recipes for flavoured liquids, how-to guides, and links to instructional YouTube videos to help newcomers who worry politicians will further restrict vaping. And it goes on. I've only sort of read the first bit, but it's a really interesting article. One of the things that I was thinking about after I watched that Trump thing the other day, there's a couple of things that stood out from Trump. Every time kept saying about, which I think was a really good point about the prohibition. If you prohibit flavours, it's all going to go underground. And he kept reiterating that point. Every time somebody threw an argument at him, he kept reiterating that point about if we ban flavours, what are you going to do about the counterfeiters? And the second point that he brought up was they were talking about the open tank, the difference between basically a sealed pod and an open tank, that you can fill. And it set me thinking, a lot of these problems start with vaping, a lot of this bad press start with vaping, come with pods, because you didn't get half of these problems before, did you, with the open tank systems, where, you had to have these big tanks, you had to fill them. Is it the fact that they've made so important? What's something to do?
I think this has been spoke about before, and I think it is. Yeah, I think it's got something to do with it. These pod systems. Especially like the sort of like pen designs like this, which are so easy, and throwaway cartridges with big nick in them, has probably made it a little bit more easier for people who wouldn't really want to go for a device such as this with batteries. But in another way, you've got to try and make it a little bit more easier for the transition for people to get off of cigarettes. If you've got like a 50-year-old who's been smoking, or 60-year-old who's been smoking 40 odd years, then.
But you're not talking about that, you're talking about closed pod systems, so basically sealed pod systems, as opposed to something that you can refill. I think that's the difference, because we're talking about putting the control on the sale of the actual liquids themselves. And there's a whole load of stuff came out, and it just feels like ever since pods have come out, there's been more problems with these sort of issues than there was ever before. And to be honest, let's be fair, you look at the old, what we call CT4, the old clear lines and things like that, they weren't difficult, were they?
No, but you see, the thing is with it, Simon, is because the pod systems come out and they use, as they say, have been able to easily conceal them. But yeah, we've had lots of problems since they come out, since we've got the pod systems out. We really have. But I think that's their main argument, that they can take them into school. And as an ex-teacher, as if a teacher wouldn't know the fucking difference between a flash drive and a bleeding pod. You talk shite, you really do.
But then it's about education as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's about educating teachers as well as.
What do you think about?
I think part of the issue. What's that? I think part of the issue, is like the pod systems, but also with the timing from like the bonds that were taken out in 2008. Like it's only all these issues have only came in like the last year. Do you know what I mean? Like the last 5 months since it's been an epidemic, but in the year that has been an issue when they're struggling to pay back the money for all the bonds that they've got with the MSA. Do you know what I mean? So I think 2 factors to it, or if not more factors to it.
Yeah, and it's the American way to then cause a sensation, obviously we're not going to bring it in, like they do with the terrorist thing, scaring people and stuff like that. I think you've hit the nail on the head there. Obviously, they're seeing that there's a lack of money, and obviously the government are going to have to plug that money from somewhere, or these states are going to have to plug it from somewhere. And obviously smoking creates a lot of money, not only in the fact of the actual sales of cigarettes, but also in the health side of it as well, with insurances, etc. So, like you said, I think there might be a number of factors that have all come together and they've thought, shit, we are down a hell of a lot of money. How the hell are we going to get this back?
Somebody's saying we're getting some echoey noise on the stream. Don't know the bit.
It's all right, I've turned mine down a little bit. There we go.
Do we know where it's from? Who's the echo coming from? When they speak.
Devil says he thinks it's the Dalek filter. It's obviously you, Salford, with your Davros scooter.
That should be a little bit better. Is it a little bit better, that? There we go. Should be.
Who said it, Devil? Dean?
You said it's the Dalek.
So it's nice to see Dean.
Dean. So, we haven't done the buffet tonight, have we? But
No, not got much anyway.
I was sat on the fire button on a vaping website the other day. Well, I was sat on it for about a week, and it's a vaping website that's got 30% off at the minute. And I kept looking at this thing, and I want to buy it. It's too expensive. But the 30% off, I eventually gave in. But I ordered it before Dean released his review of it, and it's the I can't remember the name of that, the Ultrona Gaia mod. And it was expensive. I wouldn't normally spend that amount of money, but it was just while the money was off, and I just like the look of it. But I cannot believe Dean's giving his away. The one that he reviewed is giving away. I just wouldn't power with it. I absolutely love it. It's a lovely, just in the hand. It's stunning.
I want to go for the baby stick green.
Oh no, it's nice.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of that sort.
That is gorgeous, that though.
Yeah.
I love that.
You're a heathen, Hayden.
Not my type of colours.
Oh, it's a lovely mod there. The other colours are a bit wishy-washy. They do like some reddy ones and some bluey ones. They're just a bit wishy-washy. This is nice and bright and happy and
bright and happy. It's not normally said in your house, is it?
Yeah. I don't know how you can pout with it, Dean. I honestly don't.
You got away with that one.
I did, yeah. He didn't even hear.
What did you say?
I didn't say a damn thing.
He
Watch
said
it
he
back.
loves you.
I'll watch it back on the replay.
Well, we have got a special guest on, ladies and gentlemen, so let's talk a little bit about Bo. So, obviously, which came first? Was it the shop or your reviewing?
The reviewing. I started reviewing on a different channel while I was working in another shop. Because when I very first started working in a vape shop, it was 2 years ago yesterday, actually, I started working in a vape shop. Like, while I was never a hobbyist before that. I was just sick of my job, and I asked on the off chance, it was like, any chance you got a job here? You seem to enjoy your job. And he was like, yeah. It's like, oh, sound. So because I vaped, but I wasn't into vaping at the point, I started watching a lot of reviews to teach myself about as many different types of kits and how everything works. And then I found myself that to like teach myself a little bit more to actually experiment with things and stuff like that. So I did do a good couple of videos. I wasn't really deep reviews on the other channel. I only had like 30 subscribers. But then when I started with this shop, I just didn't really want to have anything to do with the last shop on a channel that's named after my business. Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
So it's like, right, a completely new start. So yeah, vaping, reviewing definitely came before the shop. But then this channel came on the second day of the shop opening.
All right, wicked. How long's your shop been open?
Year and a half. The 12th of July, our first day was 12th of June. 12th of June.
Oh, wicked. Is it a play on the Priory or is it just the Vapery?
Just the Vapery.
How did you come about the name?
I'm trying to think that now. Like, we were trying to have a bit of a play on words. I think what we'll be coming up with, I think we were thinking like Vapology at first, and I was like, no, that's a bit shit. And we thought about it, that was the hardest thing about the whole thing, was deciding the name of the place. And I think Annette came out with it actually and said the Vapery. I'm not sure who did, and I was like, oh my god, that's the one. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a cool name, isn't it? How far away are you from Chris's shop?
Miles away.
Miles away.
We're north end. We're not too far from Steamworks. Steamworks are like, you could probably walk in about half an hour, 40 minutes, you know what I mean? It's not far at all. But then Chris's shop is VAPERY, which is like South Central Liverpool. And we're not even in Liverpool Council, our shop, we're in Sefton Council, so it's like real North Liverpool. Any further than North, you're in Southport, really.
Yeah, so you're quite far away from that. So
Yeah,
obviously, I think you were saying you've just hit 750, haven't you? So if you want, can we get his actual channel there, please? If you haven't already gone over there and subscribed to him, please get over there and give him a little cheeky sub. So with the shop, what was your idea behind it? Obviously, you'd worked in one and you wanted to obviously run your own. Was it easy to set up?
It was fairly easy, like I was saying on your Max channel, on your Max show the other day. When we very first had the idea to go into business, we were looking to set up a pub, like in a live music venue, but like we've got 2 young kids, our eldest 12, our youngest 8 now, so when we first had these thoughts, like Katie would have been about 9, Dex would have been about 6, so I was like, we're going to have to get somewhere that's got like a flat above. We're not going to have to knock, both of us are not going to be able to work at the same time. We're going to have to take on staff from the very beginning. And we were looking at the cost, and it was like £60,000-70,000 in a startup loan to do what we wanted to do.
Yep.
I was like, we can't do that, not as a first business venture. So I was already working in the shop at this point. I was the manager of one of the shops. They've got 4 shops, the company I used to work for, 5 of them now, in fact. And I was like, do you know what? I'm actually quite good at my job. I'd only worked in there for, I think, 4 months. I worked in a shop before. I was like, I'm actually quite good at this. I've got a little bit of experience behind me. But it's something that as soon as the first day working in a vape shop, I was like, right, this is what I'm supposed to do. Do you know what I mean? And then we looked into how much it would cost to set up a vape shop. Like, we were looking at 30 grand rather than 60, 70 grand. And it was a no-brainer. Do you know what I mean? It was an absolute no-brainer. And especially with shops close we close at 7 o'clock. So by the time we're home, we get both spend time with the kids before they go to bed.
Yep.
We're not coming home stinking of ale. We're not drinking every fucking day like we would do if you're in a bar. So yeah, it was quite easy. Because I went off on a proper tangent there. That's pretty much all I do. But yeah, it was quite easy because I've done a lot of the legwork into like actually setting up a business in terms of like how to register a company, how to apply for funding and stuff like that with the pub. So when it came to setting up the shop, we already knew a lot of what we were doing in that side of it. The hardest thing I found was getting someone to accept us on a wholesale site without having a address to, like, yeah, we own a vape shop, blah, 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 what's the address of your shop? Well, we don't have a shop yet, we don't have the keys for anywhere. Oh, we can't aid on our site then because, like, it's like, how am I meant to set up a shop?
It's chicken and egg, isn't it? You need the stuff.
Like, don't forget, like, a first setup of a shop, it cost about 15 grand. Like, I wanted to spend 15 grand in your shop, mate, so fuck you. Do you know what I mean?
I bet you remember them now, don't you?
What's that?
I bet you remember them now. Just don't deal with them. Just deal with the ones who helped you.
Literally. People that accepted us straight away. Ace of Vape, Evo, Flawless. Fucking brilliant. That's pretty much everything we need from there. And then a few other people deal a lot with companies themselves as well. Now a lot of independent brands. So like we don't really go to wholesalers as much. We deal with Aspire themselves as well now, which is brilliant.
Yeah, if you can go direct, it's a lot better, isn't it?
You've got to buy more. Like more quantity. Got to buy a bigger quantity of stuff, but once you buy the bigger quantity, it's a hell of a lot cheaper.
Is there an idea of expanding? Are you going to maybe get a couple or?
Maybe. I don't know. Like, we were thinking about setting up a second shop, but then we decided to put a bit of money into releasing the juice line then instead, just in case, like, a second shop, because obviously there's every chance that the shop will fall completely on its face. It's all about the locations, you know what I mean? So if you're opening a location that there's no demand for it, you're like 30 odd grand down ish, do you know what I mean? Obviously you'll get knocked back and that into the first shop, but starting a juice brand as well, because like I've mixed liquid for about a year and a half now, it just made sense to like throw a little couple of grand into that rather than 30 grand into another shop.
Yep. And how's the juice coming on?
Then maybe expand a little.
It reminds me of
Brilliant. So far we've got 6 lanes. Fucking, they're flying. They're absolutely flying out.
It reminds me of an old saying, and I'm just trying to think what it is. Something about A successful business is made on luck. Ask all the failures.
Yeah. It's true. It's a dog eat world. We were talking about 3 or 4 weeks back about what shops are opening up on the high street, because if you look on the high street now, it's not like how it used to be. A lot of the shops are closing down, and I think at the top of it, I think with like takeaways, and about 4 down was actually vape shops. There's a lot of vape shops. I think that was from January to June that there was more vape shops opening up. I think there was the 3rd biggest amount of shops opening. Are you finding that in Liverpool? Is there more popping up there, or?
It is, but there's not at the same time. Like, I've not seen a new shop open, apart from ourselves and Steamworks, in the last, like, year and a half, 2 years. Not in North Liverpool, anyway, unless I'm just totally oblivious. Like, we're quite lucky. We're in an area called Waterloo.
Yeah.
The only competition that we've got in Waterloo is the Totally Wicked, which is... Yeah. It's not really competition. It is. Don't get me wrong, it is, but it's a totally different market than what ours is. Do you know what I mean? But then in like Crosby, which is the next area on, there's a couple of shops up there. I think there's 2, maybe 3 shops in Crosby, and then Bootle, where Steamworks at, is like 3 or 4, maybe even 5 shops in Bootle. But Bootle's a hell of a lot bigger than what Waterloo or Crosby is. So it's in proportion. But then the shop I used to work at, on a stretch of road called Walton Vale, like up North Liverpool, it's not far from Aintree, like Aintree Racecourse. On that actual road, like it's a busy road, it's a busy high street, like there must be like 15,000-20,000 people go up there every day. But there's like 6 vape shops at one point. So there's 2 proper vape shops and then 2 what I call e-cig shops.
Yeah.
3 e-cig shops. But all of the shops seem to do really well, so it's weird, do you know what I mean? You can't judge it, so like, if you're opening a place that's got like a lot of competition, you might do really well, or you might do shocking. It depends how much the vape shops have pissed off the local community, I reckon.
Yeah. Have you gone for? I've seen photographs. Obviously, I don't live near Liverpool, but I've seen photographs, and like Jenny says, absolutely looks gorgeous. Is it more of a shop where people can call in and sort of like have a sit down and a chat and have a coffee and stuff like that?
Definitely. Like, I wouldn't class the shop as a lounge. Like, I do kick people out after about an hour and a half, because we do have work to do as well. I've kicked Jenny out many times. I'm watching you, Jenny. But like, I'd love to sit there and chat to people all day. But like, at the end of the day, if we do that, the business is gonna fail. Do you know what I mean? So it's got to be an equal balance of it. Like, some days, if you can't be asked, that like someone comes in at like 12 in the afternoon, and I've got nothing on, sound, come in all day. I'll send you to the shop for me 5 times if I want.
It was always one thing that when I first ever started vaping myself, was one of the things when you looked at a vape shop and you walked, to go in the door, and then it was just jam-packed full of vapors. You could tell they were in the sort of clique, and then you wanted to go in and have a little look round. It could be a little bit, what's the word I'm looking for? A little bit intimidating.
Yeah, no, definitely. Like, especially, like, I'm sure, like, as the 3 of you as hobbyist vapers who don't own a shop, do you buy most of your stuff in a B&M, or do you buy most of your stuff online?
To be pretty honest with you, unless it's probably coils and that, I'm normally testing something, so it's not very often that I go and buy anything. When I first started reviewing and stuff vaping, I bought everything. But obviously, as you go along as reviewing, you're constantly testing something new, so it's not very often I actually go and buy anything. But yeah, if I go to my bricks and mortar, I don't really buy much online.
It's an easy one for me, innit? I'm agoraphobic. Where do you think you get mine from?
Yeah, he has to let his hair down out the window.
But I think
pull it up.
So for me, that's one thing. Just because I was going to say exactly the same thing that you were talking about, and the thing for me with the bricks and mortar vape shop is that it's somewhere that I can go and sit down. Obviously, we know James is the vape shop where I'm, and I can go and sit for a full afternoon in there. And he has drinks, he has coffees and stuff like that. But the thing is, when I first started vaping, that was all I went to. So I never bought anything online. I try and go and, if I get time, I'll go up there and sort of buy when I can from there. But I'll buy online, A, because I don't have a lot of time, but B, if there's something really cheap and it's just a real bargain, then I will buy it online. But I will try and support the local vape shop. But what I was going to say is, when I first started vaping, everything that I bought from the vape shop, and that's the advantage that vape shops have got. They're the ones that can be in touch with the new vapors. They can tell them what to do. They can give them the instruction. And I learn nearly everything I learned about vaping from going into bricks and mortar vape shops. As James said, there's another couple that I sort of tend to visit as well. But going in there and talking to the vapors, there was vapors that were just, e-cigarette users. There was vapors that were, cloud chasers. There was hobbyist vapors. There was the whole suite of different vapors. And they used to have vape nights. They'd open late once a month. They'd have a vape night. They'd have competitions and stuff like that. So I learned about building. So everything I learned from that brick and mortar vape shop, which is something that the online stores can never do. They can never give that same level of service, that same education that brick and mortar vape shop can do. And I think that's where the vape shop should really stand out.
Do you know another?
But the reason why I asked that, no worries, but the reason that was the majority, and any vape shop owner will tell you the majority of the customer is 50 plus female, old women, or old men. If you do see people who look like me, I understand that, don't look like your average everyday person, you know what I mean? People are sometimes fuck off, man, I'm looking. But average customer base is 50 around. So if the shop crowded full of big people or whatever, it can be a little bit intimidating to come in. It's different with our shop because I able to move if people are in the way. So do feel comfortable coming in, man, because it's you're come shop, you're more important to someone who bought them half an hour ago. Man, that makes sense.
One of my biggest things with vape shops, and I've said it always from the beginning, I hate it in vape shops where they don't have the prices on things. Because if you walk in with just a budget, just say you think, well, I'll tell you what, I want to go and buy a tank for 25 quid. But I don't want to have to keep going up and going, how much is that? How much is that? How much is that? How much is that? I like vape shops that actually, I don't know whether you do or not, I like vape shops that actually put prices on things. So you can have a look and think, well, that's in my budget, and I like what that looks like, and then I can ask what your opinion of it is, instead of having to go to how much is that? How much is that? How much is that? I don't know if anybody else in chat has that same sort of thing, or what do you think, Bob?
All our stuff, I don't have price tags on it, but all hardware and that does have a price tag. But they're the really small prices. I've walked into some shops and it's with the big star and fucking it's it looks silly in my opinion, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you don't want them coloured cards with stuff. Yeah, no, you don't want that. Just them ones, where you can,
that's just upset Danny.
you know them sort of whatchamacallit ones, Scrabble, we could just slip them in. I think they look quite nice.
So I'm not bothered. The better I can see it, I'm not bothered. If it's for me where I have to wear glasses most of the time, if I can see the price and it's in a big yellow fluorescent store, I'm not bothered. As long as I can see it, I'm happy.
Yeah. Me too.
Get down the M62 on your scooter.
Yeah.
But I really think vape shops have got, can bring an awful lot to. And it's like I said, for me, I've always said it. It's all about the community. It's all about people talking to each other and learning new stuff and learning what the different options are. And it's like I said, I learned everything. The first year of vaping, I probably never bought a thing online. It was all from the local vape shop, everything. I think it's natural progression, isn't it? You will go to the vape shops, you will go for your education, you will go to get the service and advice, and you maybe will move away after that as part of natural progression into on how you buy stuff. But there's if people continue to stop smoking and start vaping as they are, then vape shops brick and mortar vape shops should have it.
Here's one for all three of you as well. What about bricks and mortar? Do you think they do enough for advocacy and also safety?
Yeah, some shops do. Some shops do, some shops don't. It goes Net just said in the chat that like there's a big difference between vape shops and e-cig shops. For shops like ourselves, like Steam Mix, like Chris Empire's shop, and quite a few other shops in Liverpool, but on point, it's fully our livelihood. Whereas shops that like they'll sell like mobile phone repairs, they'll sell like games and second-hand games, and then like a shit selection of fucking vape stuff.
Yeah.
Which is the majority of vape shops in the country, I've noticed. They do fuck all for it, like, so it's like two sides of it with that. Like, some shops are absolutely brilliant, and some shops are, it's like, what's the fucking point of you? Like, if you're not looking after the community won't look after you.
Yeah. I tell you what, I'm not a big fan of either. I'm not a big. I don't know if your shop does it. I'm not a big fan of people selling like head stuff, as they call it. You know, like big bongs in the window and stuff like that. There was one I went to in Mablethorpe. I'll go with a mate of mine, and went past there. It was a vape shop, but in the actual front window, they had like ginormous bongs and stuff like that. I'm not a big fan of that. If it's a vape shop, it's a vape shop.
No, I'm not. Like, me as a person, like, don't want to say too much on YouTube, that'll suit me, but it's not going anywhere near the shop. Do you know what I mean? It's, if you weren't a proper vape shop, then yeah. Do you know what I mean? We're a specialist shop, so why would you want to, like, dabble into, like, I know we sell the beard oil, and I know we sell the soap. The soap's from it, and we the beard oil, do you know what I mean?
You know what I mean?
But,
if
like,
you've got a
the
section
bongs,
sat there selling blunts and all these other bits, and then next to it you've got a smock node, it's not, to me, it just doesn't give out the right impression of what you're trying to do.
Like, fuck off.
Yeah. It's not doing the vape industry any good. What do you think, Simon?
No.
There's one thing I was going to say. So, Above the Cloud said just there, he says, I agree. I always used to stay away from a shop that had a group of people sat around. I always felt uncomfortable. Some shops can scare people off a little, I believe. But agree, vape shops rule. So, I always compare, and I've done this for a long time. I used to be a biker, and the bike community. But if you went, like, as a new biker, when I first got my first motorbike, I used to go around to all these bike meets and see all these people on these massive. You know, I started off in a 600cc, but on these, massive Fireblaze and ZZR 1200s, things like that. So really big bikes, experienced bikers, and you just think, I shouldn't be here because I'm like a new start. But the community, the biking community, the majority, you can't generalise, but the majority of the biking community will bring in these new people. They'll sort of adopt you, they talk to you, and you're made to feel part of that community. And you sort of think how much responsibility as a vape community. You're talking about advocacy. How much is the vape community? So us as vapers got a responsibility to new vapers and things like that, and spreading the word about how good vaping is to non-vapers. How much that responsibility lies there, and again going back to the vape shops, how much the advocacy bit, sort of spreading the good news should be with the vape shops. Not just I want to sell as much vape stuff as I can, but actually doing the advocacy bit, promoting the stuff. You know, I know a lot of the vape shops do the Stoptober campaigns and things like that come in now, but can they push that more? Can they make the most of it? I think it's like I said, going back to the earlier point, I think they've got a real opportunity to do more to get people off cigarettes and onto vaping.
Yeah.
That all depends on whether the vape shops are owned by an hobbyist in the first place, doesn't it? And not some of the people who come into the business that are not vapers.
Yeah.
That's what that goes down to. I mean, we've got plenty of shops now that are owned by people who don't vape, don't really understand vaping, but it's a business who just in it to make the money.
But you can there's a lot of businesses can be in it to make the money and do good as well. Good for.
Yeah, but you only see that in the advocacy part from shops that are owned by vapers that are in the community already.
It's like that bit is, like with battery safety, you got a lot of shops, again, they were just trying to sell the stock that they'd already got in there. Like they were trying to sell somebody who was coming off the ciggies an actual mech mod, and they don't know how to build, and they don't know nothing about battery safety, but because they want to shift it, then they'll sell it. It was like the shop down here, they was advertising for somebody to work behind the counter, and the bloke asked me if I knew anybody. And I said, I know a couple of people who might be interested in it. He says, they don't know much about vaping though, do they? And I went, what? He says, oh no, we don't actually want somebody who really knows a lot about vaping, because then what they're going to do is push them to one product more than they push them to another product. They want to sell everything. So that's not, that type of shop isn't really something where I'd want to shop myself. You've got to give the right advice. It's like being a reviewer. You can't be going, look, this is absolutely fantastic just because I've sent it. You've got to be telling them the truth, the good points and the bad points.
It's like your curries, isn't it? You go into curries, most of the people that are in curries don't know one end of a bloody decent hi-fi or a decent TV from the other end of it. They're just there to do a job, and that for me, if you go to a smaller electrical shop, all right, you pay a few more quid, but you get the passion behind it, you get the knowledge behind it, you get the expertise behind it. It's a place you'll go back because you know the people.
Yeah, they're going to fucking autocorrect. That's it, Liz. Bring the tone down. Yeah, that's it. I think it's a lot better. I think somebody who actually knows what they're on about is a lot better being in a vape shop than somebody who doesn't. There were actually a kid, again, I'll ask you about this, Bo. He sort of went into the store, and he'd only been there like 5 minutes, and they made him like the manager of it, or he thought he was. And he started advertising on their Facebook page that if they brought their mod in, or their RDA, or whatever else, he would build it for them for a tenner. Right? He'd build it for them for a tenner. So I thought to myself, well, number one, I think that's a bit of a rip-off. Number two, I thought, well, hold on a minute. What about if they then go and take that RDA and put it onto something else and it goes pop? He's going to be surely liable for something like that. See, in the US, you're not allowed to touch anything. You're not allowed to do anything like that. You can't build. You can't do anything for anybody. But there's got to be a bit... And he's charging a tenner. What do you think of that?
Scumbag.
Yeah, it's
absolute
right.
scumbag.
Like,
I'd much rather sit down with someone and teach them how to do what they do. Do you know what I mean? I'm not going to fucking charge him. I might charge someone for the coils that I might be using. Or like, right, you can buy this cotton as well. I'll use your cotton, that's a father. But like, I'll show them how to do it. And then if they like, right, I've done it quite a few times, to be honest. And like, it's a case of like, they come back in 2 weeks later. It's like, right, will you show me how to do that one more time? Yeah, I'll do it for you. Then you'll come back a week, 2 weeks later, and it's like, right, will you do it? No, I'm not going to do it for you this time, but I'll watch you do it and point out any mistakes that you're doing and where you might be going wrong and stuff like that. Like, charging people to build the drippers and that, like, fuck off. Like, don't be a prick.
There's also got to be some sort of like legality to that, you'd think, because like I said, if just say they put a build in that's going to work on that, and then they try and stick it on a mech mod and it's not actually the right Ohm's law, and then they go, well, it's blown up in my face, where he built it for me? Surely there must be like some sort of, look, you can't really do that.
Yeah, I do get that, but the real question would be, in a situation like that, where is someone who doesn't know how to build an RDA get a fucking mech mod from? And whoever's give them that mech mod needs to hang their head in because it's absolutely disgraceful. It's like, what?
Yeah.
That mech mod not a toy. A vape's not a toy at all, but a mech mod, if it's in someone's hands who don't know what they're doing, it's a fucking pipe bomb.
Yeah, it's. Do you know what? There's a show we talked about the other week. If you go back, me and Mark obviously were on Last of the Summer Vapes, and we did one Christmas show. Are absolutely blottoed, and we sat there. I'm sat there with Christmas Santas on, and I'm going, "It's a bomb! It's a bomb, Mark! That's what it is." So it stuck with me. So anybody who ever, so I got the Fushin to review. I know it's only semi-mechanical, and so as soon as somebody saw me, it's a bomb. You can't vape that. It's a bomb. But if somebody doesn't know what they're doing, that's what it is. It's a bomb.
I think Bobo just brought up a good point there. This is something I was going to, because we asked James the other week, didn't we, about selling mechs, because he used to sell mechs in the shop. And there's people saying, well, you shouldn't be selling mechs in the shop. Well, which would you rather do? Would you rather sell a mech in a shop where, you, like you say, you can actually show somebody what to do, how to use it? Or would you rather somebody went off and just bought a mech online and tried to do it themselves? James has always said he won't put a build in for anybody. He'll show them how to do it, but he will not put a build in for them, which I get.
It's common sense anyway, because you can't disclaim against injury and death.
That's
But
actually that's
letting.
bulletproof. Apparently, the bit of plastic there, TVP, it's bulletproof. What you'd need bulletproof material on it for, I haven't got a clue.
Because it's a bomb.
It's a bomb. Imagine that, you're walking around Harlem. It's all right, I've got my foosh.
Like, we don't sell mechs, but like, we've done this a few times. If someone wants a mech and they want to buy it off us, we'll order it in for them. Do you know what I mean? Rather than have it on the shelf, because mechs do look fancy. Mechs do catch your eye, especially the nicer ones.
Yeah.
Maybe not like 150, 200 pounds, but like a decent, like 70, 80 quid. Look nice and they catch people's eye. So like, people, no matter what level, you go, ooh, what's that? And it's like, I can't sell you that because you're still on a T18, mate. Do you know what I mean? But if someone, Jenny's brother, Kieran, I ordered him in a Bonza, got him in the Bonza kit and stuff like that, rather than him picking it off the shelf. It's like, yeah, we'll get it in for you, but you're going to have to wait like 2 days for us to get it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Obviously, you can't stop people. See, this was another thing we spoke to Mark from Nature Vapes about. Obviously, this is an online store. So it's very hard for them to check, sort of like the age, isn't it? There's no, like in America, they have to actually take a photograph of the driver's license, whatever, before they can actually send it. Obviously, here in the UK, they can just order it. Now, if they're using any credit cards, you can get these prepaid ones, which obviously parents are giving to the kids and stuff. It is a thing that they can obviously buy online. What do you think of that? Because obviously in your shop, you can see and you can ask for ID. When it's online, it's very hard for them to stop that.
Yeah. It's like, I don't know, like, I own a vape shop, obviously. I'm quite against vape shops as a revenue way, because it, like, the vaping industry started vape shops rather than online, and I talked about earlier on tonight, it's both a call, do you know what I mean? So, obviously you can get mad deals and massive bargains on the internet, but, like, brick and mortar, it's so much to get the advice and stuff, do you know?
I think that's the problem, though, with the entire UK, whether it's clothes, food, or anything. It's the convenience of it. That's why the whole high street is absolutely collapsing. You've got no Woolworths, you've got no nothing anymore, have you? You can't go and nick the pick and mix. So it's all online.
I think that just going back to the mech thing, Dean said he was saying that you shouldn't sell, or people shouldn't be selling mechs who don't know how to use themselves, which I absolutely agree with. But it comes back to how do you control that? You know, if you go back to the old and on a less dangerous thing, the old ham radios, you were never allowed to own a ham radio unless you'd done an exam.
Yeah.
So you maybe could do something like, right, anybody who's going to sell mechs, you have to pass an exam on Ohm's law. You've got to understand how Ohm's law now to build before you're allowed to sell a mech.
I totally agree with you. Even on the ham radio bit.
Yeah.
Delta Romeo 06.
Yeah, exactly.
That was my call station.
Is that when you were on council?
What was that?
Is that when you were on council? Romeo 6, you asleep again?
I was one of the illegal CB users. The was it super sideband and all that.
I had a CB. Lower sideband.
I did the big. It looked like a ham radio, but it was the big illegal one. Great big massive antenna out the back of the house.
Yeah.
Antron 99.
Anton 99.
Antron 99. That was the aerial I had, and then you used to have mid-band, sideband,
super sideband,
upper sideband, lower sideband.
Yeah. You get all neighbours knocking on the door, going, "Hey, my telly's going haywire here. I'm trying to watch what's his face on calendar."
CQ 4DX.
QDX, Delta Romeo.
As soon as it were a nice sunny day, that were it. You're on there, weren't you? Because you could get to Australia.
Can you recite the phonetic alphabet, Salford?
Yes.
Backwards.
Alpha Barrel, Charlie, Delta, Echo, Foxtrot, Golf, Hotel, EH, India, Juliet, yeah.
Kilo, Lima, Mike, November, Oscar, Pepper, Quebec, Romeo, Sierra, Tango, Uniform, Victor, Whiskey, X-Ray, Yankee, Zulu.
And join us next week, ladies and gentlemen, when the bolt shows that they can tie their own fucking shoelaces. Well done, boys. You can do the alphabet.
you can tell me if Simon haven't done it phonetically in a long time, can't you?
Well, lads, it's got to that point of the show where we're going to have to say goodbye. We will start off with Salford Vapor. But before we go, actually, I was actually going to go to Coily. We will do Salford's Quote of the Week. Let's play it, baby. Salford's Quote of the Week.
Got my woman on there, boy.
I tell you what, you don't half look lovely on that, I'm telling you.
I know. It's that blonde hair, does it? You know what I mean?
Salford's Quote of the Week, people.
Right. Who covets more is ever more a slave. The more you want, the more you get, the more you want, innit?
Yeah.
And
that's all. As you get old and you can't get it anymore.
My middle name's I want.
And that's Salford's Quote of the Week. Come on then, say your goodbyes.
That was Salford's Rush Quote of the Week, remember?
It is, yeah, because you've been running around on your scooter.
I haven't. I've been running around cleaning it out so I can put a place for the scooter to go. So, you say goodbye first.
You go on, you say goodbyes.
Right, guys, using chat. Without you, we don't have a show. Say that every week because it's true. And big thanks to our guest coming on today. Yeah, I'm going to go and have a look because I didn't know about him until the last minute and I don't know his channel, so I didn't do my research, so I'm in trouble. Big thanks and big love to Simon, who, like me, can't get the phonetic code right.
I got it right.
Yeah, half of it. And of course, yo, big bro for keeping it going, asking all the questions, letting me sit here, answer the phone to my mother and all that lot that went on during the show. I love you, mate.
Love you too, bro.
That's me done.
We'll pass you over to the wonderful Mr. Coily.
Salford, without you, the show would be even better.
It'd be fucking 100% better, mate.
No, as always, thank you to everybody in chat. As Salford said, without you, it wouldn't be a show, and I've been rubbish at chat again tonight. But so thank you, everybody. Thank you very much for the spanners for keeping things under control. Thank you to Bobo for coming on as a guest. To the wonderful Mr. Salford. Wonderful, have my fingers crossed behind my back and Salford.
No, you like that, you mean, behind your back.
Yeah.
The wonderful Salford.
Both fingers crossed.
And you got two. Am I actually worth two this week and not just the one? Wow, doing well.
And brother from another mother, Mr. Aidan Little Brow Vapes. Thank you very much, and looking forward to next week.
Yes, and we'll pass you over to Bobo.
Yo. Thank you very much for watching, guys. This has been me second live show. It's a little bit better in terms of my actual equipment working than what it was on the first show. I'm on Tales from the Home again. Tales from the Home. The Home service again tomorrow, so come in and tune in on that on Soul Home's channel. Thank you all very, very much. It's been an absolute pleasure, and I'll see you all at some point, you know what I mean?
I'd like to say a big thank you very much to our special guest, Bo. You can catch him tomorrow on my brother's show, the Home Service. Make sure you go and check him out at 7 o'clock tomorrow night. It's a corking show with BFG and Lethal Coils. It will be an absolute fantastic show. It always is. Also, big love to my two brothers from another mother, the Salford Vapor and the wonderful Mr. Coily. You could join us next week, same bat channel, same bat time. We have got the wonderful Jules Mama Vapes on. Big love to her as well. She's going through a bit of crap at the minute, so big love to her. So yeah, join us next week. Big love to everybody in chat, all the spanners for looking after us, and like normal people, keep them juices flowing. Good night.
Salford's not your brother from another mother. I'm your brother from another mother. That makes me Salford's brother from another mother, which I don't like.
Do you know what? My outro's gone.
You love that, really.
My outro's gone missing, so we're just in black, but we're still going to say piss flaps.
Richie Burger.
Ball bag beanie.
Yeah, the ball bag beanie.
Good night. See you later.
Let's go the curly, Coily.